He can either give us a license and we can run him and decide if we're going to let him go, or we'll smash the window out and drag him out.
I'm going to get him out.
Hi, everyone. It is 5 o'clock on the East. I am Stephanie Ruhle, in for my friend Nicole Wallace. And that video you saw right there, that is what life under Donald Trump's campaign of mass deportation looks like here in the United States of America. ICE agents threatening to smash a man's window and drag him out of his car during a traffic stop in Maryland. And if you were hoping that kind of violence is an aberration or a case of just a few bad apples, there's new reporting out by ProPublica that finds it is actually part of a broader escalation of the use of violence by ICE during Donald Trump's presidency, as agents rush to meet his aggressive deportation and arrest quotas. ProPublica reporting this, quote, "It was one of nearly 50 documented instances of immigration agents breaking vehicle windows that ProPublica has identified. We found just 8 in the previous decade. ICE says its officers use a minimum amount of force when making arrests. Use of force experts and former immigration and customs enforcement insiders say that tactic was rarely used during previous administrations. They say there is no known policy change greenlighting agents' smashing of windows. Rather, it is part of a broader shattering of norms." ProPublica's reporting includes videos of that so-called minimum amount of force. Take a look at this, and I warn you, these are graphic.
Look. Open the door. No, you can. You can. Why? It's illegal. Look. It's pregnant. It's pregnant.
Here's another video uncovered by ProPublica from an ICE arrest that took place on Mother's Day.
Stop playing. Get out of the car. Watch our back. Watch our back. Watch our back. I got right here. I'm not resisting, man. Okay. What's your problem? What are you looking for?
What are you looking for?
One of the children you just heard screaming in that video is a toddler. The other is a 12-year-old with severe disabilities. They had just left church. The family and a bystander said the agents threatened them with what they believe was a gun. The White House, though, stands behind the scenes we have just shown you. Here's what they told ProPublica when they asked for a comment, quote, "ProPublica is a left-wing rag that is shamelessly doing the bidding of criminal illegal aliens." Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson said this in a statement. ICE officers are heroically getting these violent illegal aliens off American streets with the utmost professionalism. I got to take a deep breath on that one. We begin this hour with ProPublica reporter Nicole Foy. She is bylined on that reporting that we just read from. Also joining us is Deputy Director of the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project, Lee Gellerant. Nicole, this is an incredible body of reporting that I want to point out. While the White House sort of insulted or tried to drag ProPublica, they didn't deny, they didn't refute any of your reporting. Tell us about what you uncovered in these stories.
Well, what we've uncovered is that a tactic that many people may have seen at a certain point of a really horrific video, maybe one of the ones you shared, coming across their screens or their Instagrams, is actually something that's happening all around the country. There's immense pressure on immigration officials to complete deportations at a really increased speed. And although there is a professed administration focus on arresting the worst of the worst, what we end up seeing broadly, and also certainly in these videos, is that many of the folks who are being arrested and rather forcefully, with their windows broken in, dragged out onto the ground in front of their children or in front of a pregnant spouse, they don't have much of a criminal record, and maybe people who it would be confusing to the average viewer why such force is needed to arrest them. ICE and the administration has told us that they believe that this falls within the bounds of a reasonable use of force. But I think what we wanted to show for this story was that not only is this happening at a much higher pace than people may be aware of and happening in their neighborhoods, but that the way that some of these people are being arrested may not appear to be reasonable to the average viewer.
But the way they're being arrested, this use of force, whether you want to call it minor or major, these ICE agents aren't being punished or questioned. According to your reporting, it's just the opposite. It's like they're being celebrated and promoted.
Yeah, that's accurate. I think that this is definitely a tactic that while former officials have told us it was certainly never against policy. It was something that happened from time to time. It was rare. It was not something you saw very often. But from very early on in our reporting, we were able to track as early as January and February increased uses of ICE officers, even top government officials. That first video that you saw is the former Maryland ICE director who is now in one of the top positions in ICE in Washington, D.C. break a window on camera, even while saying on camera to a local TV reporter, you know, this is not the person who we set out to look for, but we did determine that they're undocumented, and so we're going to break the window and arrest them. You know, after that, he was promoted, and there's officers in Border Patrol on the West Coast and operating in California right now who have also been incredibly supportive of this tactic. There's increased pressure and focus on completing arrests by any measure, and breaking windows appears to now be one of those tactics.
In that statement from the White House where they are saying this is all part of our effort to get violent people off the streets, I want to show our viewers one more video clip and think about that statement that the White House put out. Watch this.
Pues no me voy a bajar.
Entonces le tiene que...
Si no me baja, si no,
No,
me,
you
no,
know?
deja que lo revienten.
No, if it's against... No! You guys cannot take her just because you guys
No
want
te preocupes, Karen, no te preocupes. Tranquilo. Tranquila, mamá. Háblale a Ulises.
You act like you want to have kids!
No te preocupes, mamá. Todo va a estar bien.
Tenga cuidado, tenga cuidado.
Gracias.
Nicole, not only is this woman not resisting arrest, I know it's in Spanish, but she's actually thanking the people who just smashed her car window and cooperating with them. Talk to us about her story.
Yeah, this is Elsie Noemi Berrios. She was arrested in the New England area earlier this year. She is actually someone who this video may have made the rounds before. You can hear her 18-year-old daughter, who recorded the video, in the passenger seat next to her, crying and begging officers not to break the window, telling them that she believes it's illegal. When her arrest started to make the rounds and get attention, there was a lot of questions about why is this 51-year-old mother who has apparently no criminal record that we can see and who is cooperating, doesn't appear dangerous. Why was it necessary to break the window? And the statement that DHS put out at the time was they said, oh, she is an affiliate of the violent gang MS-13. We and several other reporters who covered this story when it came out, but we asked again for any type of information or evidence to support this claim. We looked for this information ourselves and could not find anything to bolster that claim by DHS, by the government. And so it's not an uncommon claim, especially as the administration is trying to make the point that they are only going after the worst of the worst. But sometimes when you dig a little bit deeper into the individual cases, like this mother who is still in ICE detention, there's not always a lot of there, if that makes sense.
Lee, tell us what's happening out there. How many cases have you seen with the use of violence by ICE like this?
Yeah, I think Nicole's great reporting is showing what's happening. You know, we're seeing in case after case exactly what Nicole is saying. They're trying to justify everything by saying we're going only after the worst of the worst, serious gang members, people have committed serious crimes. And then when we push back in court or otherwise, it's clear that that's not what they're doing. They're trying to get their numbers up. And the tactics are widespread. They're unprecedented. And I think, you know, Sonia, you put it exactly right. If you have impunity for the officers, they're just going to keep doing it. They've been led to believe that we're at war with immigrants. And so that's what's going to happen. I mean, the Alien Enemies Act, the president invoked it. It's a wartime measure. He's invoked it against immigrants. It's only been invoked 3 times in the country's history, all during major wars, War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. He invoked it against a gang and said all these people are serious gang members, sent them to the most notorious prison in the world, or one of them, in El Salvador. They've finally gotten back to Venezuela. They're in danger in Venezuela. But he said, well, these are all very serious gang members. The evidence has emerged that these people overwhelmingly had no ties to the gang. And so I think he has a big bully pulpit and is constantly saying we're going after the worst of the worst. And this is what it's going to take, reporting like this, MSNBC doing stories like this, people getting out and showing, look who they're going after. And why are they wearing masks? I've never heard a good justification for that. Regular police are in our city streets and have been forever without masks. And all of a sudden, they're wearing masks, they're breaking windows, they're going after families. And I think the American public's going to start pushing back.